Hello Python programmers! Today we're going to talk about functions. We've already been using functions in class. For example, we use the function len to get the length of a list or a tuple or a string. The length is 5 in this case with my string hello. I can store the result in a variable if I want to, or just print it to the screen. Now we're going to write our own functions, and I'll start with a simple function, say hello. And the syntax is, if you're defining your own function, start with DEF, short for define or definition, and the name of your function. And notice that when we call the function length, we used parentheses. We're going to use parentheses here with our say hello function. In this case, the user doesn't have to pass anything in, so we have nothing in the parentheses, but the parentheses are used with functions anytime you're defining them or calling them. And then just like with our if and with our for loops and with our while loops, we have a colon at the end of this first line. And we indent what's inside of the functions. We just have a comment saying this function prints hello. And what does the function do? It says hey, hello. This is the function definition, just these 3 lines here. And then we're calling the function below with the name of the function and then those parentheses. So let's see what happens when I run this. And it does what it advertised. It says, I just wanted to say hello. And we can call this function multiple times. I can call it a second time or a third time. And when I run this, then I'm calling the function 3 times and saying hello 3 times. Well, let's make this a little more interesting. Just like with the length function, we can pass something in the parentheses. What if we were to pass a name in parentheses? And we could pass in Bob's name and Sue's name and Jenny's name. Now, if I run this program, I'm going to see a difference. This time, I've customized my greeting to each person, to Bob and Sue and Jenny. So what is passed in parentheses here when I'm calling the function gets copied into this variable in our function definition. What we're passing to the function when we call the function is our actual arguments, and when we have variables that are going to hold copies of whatever we're passing in, those are the formal parameters with the function. So just think of whatever's in the parentheses is going to get copied into the name variable, and we'll use that in our print statement. Okay, we can pass more than one thing into the function. What if I want to pass in how many times I want to greet each person? So I'll pass a second argument into each function call, and that second argument is going to be the number of times I want to say a greeting. So we learned for loops last class, so I could say for x in range of number to get it to do this greeting a certain number of times. I'll go ahead, oops, not that one. I want to run the module. And this time I say hello to Bob 3 times, and once to Sue, and 4 times to Jenny. And you might notice this comment up here, and that's not just for fun, but that is a way to document your function. And if somebody wants help on the say hello function, then they can do the help command, pass in the name of your function, and this function prints hello. Why, that just happens to be what you have here in the documentation for the function. So that is in the say hello. I'm going to do a period, 2 underscores, and then a doc. So that is the documentation for your function that the help command uses. Let's try a different function, a function that returns something. This function does a job of saying hello, and it doesn't need to return a value back to the caller. But this other function example I have, switch sign, is going to take whatever number that somebody passes in, switch the sign from a negative to a positive or a positive to a negative, and it's going to return that. So a function that returns something in Python just needs to have a return statement at the end of the function with whatever value you want to return. So I'm calling this function and I'm passing in -7. The -7 will get copied into our variable x. We'll do -7 times -1, and we'll return into the variable y +7. So let's see this in action. Let me save that as temp. And I don't have a print statement, but if I look at that variable y, it does have my new value of that -7 with the sign reversed. We can call it with a different number, and this time I'm going to put a print statement. Go ahead and print y so we can see right off the bat that we are reversing the sign of this function. All right, more on functions later.